Hi everyone. As most of you know, I have been doing a new lifestyle with gluten-free. I have found a really nice gluten-free flour that I actually don't mind using. It's not gritty like the rest of the flours that I have tried. It's easy to work with, and it doesn't taste like cardboard. That's the main thing for me with gluten-free stuff. It seems like everything tastes like cardboard. And yes, I know what cardboard tastes like because I was dared when I was a child to eat it. Well, I couldn't back up that dare. I had to do it. It tastes ugh. So I know what it tastes like. And this does not taste like cardboard. Follow along with me and I will show you how to make my gluten-free pizza crust. It's not mine. I followed the directions, but I am going to share it with you because it's a good recipe. In my bowl, I'm going to put 1 cup of warm water, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. And I use Red Star active dry yeast because it is gluten-free. Some yeast are not, but that one is. We're going to mix that together real quick and let it sit for 10 minutes because we want it to froth up. If your yeast doesn't get real bubbly or frothy, then it is not good. It's old. You need to toss that stuff out and get you some new yeast because the old yeast, it's like I'm done. No, we're out of here. In a separate bowl, I have 3 cups of the King Arthur gluten-free measure for measure flour. It's got all the Xanthan Gum and all that stuff in it that it needs. However, it asked for more Xanthan Gum than what I had. I know I'm saying that word wrong, but it's Xanthum. Yeah. In here I have 1 teaspoon of Himalayan salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of Xanthan Gum. And I'm going to put it in with my flour mixture and just give it a good stir. See how frothy my yeast got? That's really good. To this mixture, you want to add 2 tablespoons of oil. I have avocado oil here. You can use olive oil, canola oil, whatever your favorite oil is. I like avocado. And I have my paddle mixer because my bread mixer for this just doesn't do well. So I'm just going to use my paddle mixer. I'm going to add my 3 cups of flour to this. So I had to keep adding water. I wound up adding almost a 1/2 cup more water because of the area that I live in. This is when if you knew the weight of the flour, it would probably be a lot easier. And you'd get the right amount in there instead of guessing at it with a cup. Let that go for 5 minutes. See how sticky it is? That's what I was told. It's how it's supposed to be. When I followed the directions, it said it's supposed to look like this. But your gluten-free flours are so much different compared to other flours. Cover this and let it rest for 1 hour. In this skillet, I have some chicken sausage links. I'm just giving them a good brown, and then I'm going to dice it up to put it on my pizza. And then in my 12-inch cast iron skillet, we'll oil that up really good. See how I put my avocado oil. I'll buy a big jug, but I put it in this. It's easier to drizzle in the pan. But I've got my 12-inch cast iron. I've got a lot of oil in here so that the dough doesn't stick, because gluten-free dough is very sticky. You have to oil it very well, or use parchment paper. And if you use parchment paper, you also want to oil the parchment paper. But this is almost done. It might already be done. Let me see. And I got my oven preheated at 425. Yeah, it's good enough. It's doubled in size. It's spread out. And it will be sticky. That's why everything has to be oiled well and different things. And I'm going to put just a little bit of this King Arthur flour. Put a little bit on my board here. Get my dough out of here. It's best if you have, I don't have my water, a cup of water next to you, because it is so sticky that if you dip your fingers into the water, it doesn't stick as bad, which is what I'm going to have to do. I've got a cup of water here so that I can work with this dough, because your hands will have to be wet, because this is just too sticky to work with if it's not. And I'm just kneading it just a little bit, not much, just a little bit, because this stuff is super sticky. But I noticed that if you let it get too hard, though, it just doesn't taste good to me. The moisture just isn't in it like it should be. You know what I mean? It's more like a cracker instead of a pizza. I'm not going to roll it out. I'm just going to set it here and I'm going to push it out. Where's my water? I need my water. Just make sure you keep your fingers wet and just push it out to the edges of your pan. I'm going to make mine more like a deep crust. And I do have this oiled very well. And this is going to be a thick crust for me. If you don't like it this thick, you can cut it in half and save your dough for another day. Just wrap it up really good, stick it in the refrigerator for another day. Get a fork and just make a bunch of holes in the bottom of that crust. My pizza crust will go into the oven at 425 degrees until it's finished cooking. I got my pizza crust out of the oven and it's done. It's pulled away from the edges of it. It's a little bit crispy though, but it softens up when you get your other stuff on it. You're only supposed to bake it for like 10 to 15 minutes, but because I put so much in here, I made it thick because I wanted a thicker crust. It's a little bit harder than what I normally have it. But I'm going to just put some marinara sauce on it. I like mine saucy. I might put a little bit more. Depends. That's hard with gluten-free crust because it really doesn't brown like normal wheat flour does. It doesn't get that brownness to it that that flour does. So it's hard to judge on when it's done. I'm going to put all my sausage. I know it looks like a lot of sausage, but I want a lot of sausage on it. I'm allowed to have chicken sausage, so, and it's a gluten-free sausage. There's a lot of those sausages out there that are not gluten-free. So you have to be cautious of that. Because like your sausage and your meatballs, they'll have wheat in it. And I've put mozzarella in here and then a cheese blend that I really like. And I'm just going to mix those two together because I wanted a little bit more mozzarella than the cheese blend. And I am going to cover this with cheese. My husband always orders pizza with extra cheese, please. This goes back into the oven until all the cheese is all melted and tasty. Because the sausage is already hot. I cooked it. Back in a 425 degree oven. Look at that. Isn't that good? The crust is thicker than I normally make it. And if you don't want it, Lord knows, if you don't want it this thick, use only half the dough, half that recipe. Take the other half, put it in saran wrap, and put it in the fridge for another day. But see, I wanted it a thick crust. And I got a little bit of extra marinara sauce here so I can dip it into. Let me see how it tastes though. Mmm. Mmm. It'll never be exactly like wheat flour. It won't, because it's not. But it's still really good. And I know that my family will like this. And it is a heavy dough. I am not kidding you when I say it's heavy. One piece of this will fill you completely because this dough is really thick. Even when it's a thin pizza, it doesn't take much for this dough to fill you up. But today I wanted more bread. I miss having bread. Let me dip it in my marinara. I hope you enjoy this recipe. It's different. It's a different lifestyle that I've had to switch over to. No ifs, ands, or buts. But it's making me feel better. That's the key. And it's good that my family are going through this with me. You know, I really can't make a lot of recipes that have flour in it, wheat flour, unless I mask up. And that's very uncomfortable. I did with the last batch of flour that I had, I made a bunch of biscuits with it and I popped them in a freezer, mask on. And my husband said, "Why did you do that? I'm happy eating what you're eating. Just make it gluten-free." Which made me feel good, you know. And it made me feel good that I'm actually working at it these past several months, getting past my fear of cooking in a new style, that it's something that he's actually enjoying. If it wasn't for that, I think I would still be stuck and not trying, just giving up on that type of food and forgetting it. I know, but he helps me, he pushes me to continue to do better. And so does my grandson. I'll say, "Be honest with me now. You tell me if you don't like this." And he'll say, "It's different, but it's good." He loved my biscuits and gravy. And I will share that recipe with you all next time. It's my biscuits and gravy, and it's all gluten-free. The gravy was gluten-free and my biscuits. And it was a sausage gravy. And it turned out good. My father didn't even know that it was gluten-free. So that was like, yeah, I did it. I accomplished that. Another check off the list. I can make gravy gluten-free, cooking with this weird flour. I want to thank you all. I want to say I've been praying for my subscribers that are in North Carolina and also in California. Both those states have been just devastated with the flooding, the slides, and then the fires now. And I wanted you all to know that all of you all are in my mind and in my heart, and I'm praying for you all. So until next time, God bless you all. I'll see you again.